Welcome to
Release Readiness Live.
It is important to watch Release Readiness Live so that you get a snippet of the coming attractions of the functionality that's coming from Salesforce.
We really focus on the features that are going to be most useful and impactful.
With Release Readiness Live, you get the great opportunity to actually hear it from the mouths of the people who spend a lot of time thinking about what exactly you all as Salesforce developers and admins are actually wanting to see.
Your feedback is so important. I think that's one of the most amazing things actually about the Salesforce ecosystem is how involved Trailblazers are with evolution of our products.
Is RRL about to start?
Let's get it started.
Jillian Bruce here, your former host of Release Readiness Live. You know what? It's time to pass the baton. Actually, the torch. I am passing the microphone to the one and only Carolyn Bathauer, who is going to be your phenomenal future host of Release Readiness Live.
Well, Jillian, thank you so much for the opportunity and for the responsibility. I know the community loves you, so I have really, really big shoes to fill. I really appreciate it, and I'm so excited to get more embedded and more ingrained in this community. So make sure you tune in to the next episodes of Release Readiness Live right here on Salesforce Plus. We will be with you October 9th, 10th, and 11th, and I can't wait to see you there live. Welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Carolyn Bathauer, Senior Customer and Product Evangelist. It is an honor to be your new host of RRL. We have 3 days of content coming your way. And to kick things off, I am here with the amazing team from Sales Cloud. These experts are here to bring you exciting new product innovations that are coming your way in the Winter 25 release. We are excited to chat with you all about Agentforce. We're going to talk about how assisted and autonomous agents help sales reps to be more effective and more productive, and how out-of-the-box agents, such as Agentforce SDR and Agentforce Sales Coach, help reps get started quickly. But before we get into it, I need to remind you to only make purchasing decisions on existing features and functionality. So with that covered, I also want to thank you for joining us on Salesforce Plus and for all of your valuable feedback. It really does help our technology teams build solutions centered around your experience. And we have a great lineup. So day one, the latest innovations from Sales Cloud and Salesforce Flow. Day two, we cover Developer Preview plus Service Cloud and a bonus episode featuring Health Cloud. And on day three, we'll wrap up with CRM Analytics and our Admin Preview. All of our episodes will be available on demand on Salesforce Plus. And over the next hour, you'll see live demos highlighting the top new sales features. We're talking AI innovations in account plans, Sales Cloud Go, and Partner Connect, just to name a few. So as you watch, please join the chat on Salesforce Plus and drop your questions in the Q&A tab. I've got my pad here ready, and we'll have the product experts standing by, and we'll take some of those questions live. If you do still have questions after the show, please post them in the Trailblazer community, #SalesforceRRL. So let's get started. So first up, Connor Crane, Senior Product Manager. He's here to show how you can enhance productivity with Agentforce and give your sales teams incredible insights in the prospecting center that combines AI, data, and CRM. So Connor, let's give the people what they want.
Awesome. Thanks, Carolyn. Appreciate that warm intro. Excited to kick us off with all of the innovation that we've been driving for seller experiences, including Agentforce for Sales. Starting with our Agentforce SDR agent, let's ignite your pipeline with an agent that continuously and autonomously works your leads 24/7. Built with your business context and grounded in your enterprise data, this agent can take action on your behalf, including sending personalized outreach, answering product questions, or even booking meetings for your teams. But what's really important is that this agent comes in with built-in guardrails that you can control how it actually engages externally, including when and how it reaches out and when it actually will need to loop in a member of your team for a warm handoff to the lead. Moving forward, what if you could give every rep a dedicated coach to make them their best? We'll say hello to Sales Coach Agent, an agent that's equipped for a variety of role play scenarios, including practice pitches, handling objections, as well as preparing for negotiations. And what's really great is that sellers get consistent and objective feedback, all grounded in CRM data and actionable about how they can drive their deals forward. Beyond agents, we're also in the process of rolling out Prospecting Center, Sales Cloud's first data app, which harmonizes first and third-party data to help you find your next best prospect. And sales and marketing teams can harmonize their data in Data Cloud to build segments or promotions, which then allows reps to prioritize their outreach and add prospects directly to cadences from within Prospecting Center. Next, we've updated our Gmail integration with the new Chrome side panel. This experience is easy to launch and has just a few-step onboarding process and comes with Agentforce built in, bringing the power of AI where you work. And last but not least, we've revamped the Sales Cloud mobile app. This experience is faster than ever and built with sellers in mind. Whether it's accessing CRM data, preparing for upcoming meetings, sending emails, or making calls, this app truly enables productivity on the go. So with that, I'm going to switch over to our demo and run through, as a starting place, the setup for how we can get started with creating an agent. Starting with our SDR, I'm first going to give the agent all of the permissions that it needs. Next, I'll create the user record and assign the manager for the agent, as well as select the avatar. This is always a fun part of the process that I enjoy. Next is a really critical part of the setup flow. I'm going to define the guardrails for which this agent will engage, including the language that it will use, its tone, the number of attempts and when it will reach out, as well as the topics that it has at its disposal. For now, I'm going to use the system defaults and move to the next step. To complete the setup process, similar to any other member I'm onboarding to my team, I need to give our agent context to be able to complete its role. So to do this, I'm going to quickly add files from our internal repository and upload. Now, using the power of Data Cloud's vector database, our agent, using the power of RAG, will be able to access all of this unstructured information quickly and accurately as it's engaging externally. So diving into a quick workflow for an agent, you'll see the agent workflow here on the left, as well as how it's engaging live here on the right. Our agent automatically reaches out to our prospect Simon with a personalized email based on his ebook download. A really nice touch is that the agent also identifies itself as an agent, which builds trust with the prospect immediately. Now our prospect responds with a totally unscripted question about pricing. And if you recall in the setup process, I gave our agent both the power to answer this question as well as the context that it needs to answer it. So our agent responds with basic pricing information and asks the prospect if he would like to continue to meet with a rep. The prospect confirms, and our agent then goes through the meeting scheduling workflow. It shares Heather's times and goes ahead and books the meeting with the prospect. But the workflow doesn't stop there. Our agent then takes the next step of making a warm handoff with our rep Heather, making sure that she has all of the context from these conversations so that she's set up for success when she first talks with Simon, our prospect. But Agentforce for Sales isn't just about nurturing pipeline. It's also about elevating all of our reps to make them their best. And that's where Sales Coach comes in. Jumping into Salesforce, we landed an opportunity that's in the negotiation phase. This is just the type of opportunity where a little bit extra practice and preparation can help me nail that conversation and close this deal. Jumping into the role play, our coach will first outline me through the scenario, and then we'll jump in live. I'll be able to practice my talking points, and my sales coach will take on the persona of the buyer, their talking points, their tone, as well as give me an idea of the objections that I might hear. Ending the practice, what's really incredible for me as a rep is I get instant feedback. It's objective, it's non-judgmental, and it's actionable. I see where the conversation went well, where I have growth opportunities, and it's all grounded in CRM data. Clicking finish, the last thing that I want to show here is that my role play is immediately updated to our activity timeline, which gives our leadership the ability to conduct ROI analysis on the deals where sellers are engaging sales coach versus those that it's not. So switching gears to my final demo, I'm now going to run through Prospecting Center, which starts in Seller Home. Scrolling down, we see that Prospecting Center curates my top prospects for the day. Clicking View, we'll see a list of prospective accounts curated by my engagement score, fit, and intent. Coming down into the account grid, I can hover over the account score and understand what's actually driving this momentum, whether it's first-party data like email opens or meetings, or my rich ecosystem of third-party data, whether it's HighSpot, Zoom info, or intent signal from demand base. If I'd like to prioritize this list, a new feature that we have is the ability to filter for segments that are controlled by our sales and marketing team in Data Cloud. I'm specifically going to filter for a really successful event that we had in San Francisco a few weeks ago and click Apply. Zooming into this more focused list of account, I'm now going to review the individuals related to Omega. I can see the relevant contacts, their buyer attributes, which gives me more context into who they are, automatically captured through Einstein Activity Capture, and then I'm going to go ahead and click to add these folks to a cadence. I'll deselect some people, I'll add them to our event follow-up cadence, and you'll see that in a process that previously was time-intensive and difficult for me to pull all of the data together, I'm easily able to go through a few-step workflow of finding my key prospects, prioritizing them based on segments or promotions that my team has put together, and then taking action by adding them to a cadence. So with that, those are my demos, and I'll hand it back over to you, Carolyn.
Awesome. I had previews of this, and how exciting it is when I used to be an account executive and I sit back and say all of the things that I used to spend all the time on.
Yeah.
And now we are automating those things and identifying as an agent. It makes me almost want to get back into sales. So awesome. We do have time for Q&A, and so for the viewers at home, you can post your questions in the Q&A tab on Salesforce Plus. But we've got some reactions. Dave Gore says, been in the new mobile app. It is fantastic. So good work there. Let's start with the Agentforce SDR because cultivating leads is one of the hardest things and the most time consuming for any salesperson. So how does Agentforce SDR begin working on those leads?
Yeah, and that's something that I glossed over a little bit in my demo, but it's all controlled based on your organization's lead routing. So really the idea behind Agentforce SDR is that you can segment your higher value leads to the members of your team that want to work them, and Agentforce SDR will take maybe the lower value ones to make sure that those are continuously getting worked. So you can define that using your lead routing. Once the lead is assigned to the SDR, it'll automatically start taking action.
Yeah, I remember a statistic somewhere where it takes 8 touches in order for somebody to be interested, and I can imagine with just the digital world we live in, it's probably more. So being able to automate some of those is pretty awesome. And then I also used to be a AE leader. And so sales coach is super exciting. I think practicing and being able to really hone that pitch is exciting. Where can a seller get coaching then within this tool?
Yeah, absolutely. So our sales coach is all tailored to an opportunity. So across their opportunities, we really wanted to focus on business context and applicable scenarios where they can get the feedback that they need to drive their business forward. So everything lives within the context of a single opportunity.
That's absolutely amazing. Okay, and then the last question that I have here is talking about that prospecting center. Every deal is unique, every business is unique. We measure on different things to make sure that we're qualifying them that's best for our business. So are the scores in Prospecting Center, are they configurable? Can we work through that?
Yeah, they're all configurable. That's feedback that we've gotten along the way. Everything from the data that's driving the scores as well as the filtering for the conditions that ultimately make that score light up. All of that's configurable and extensible for our customers.
Great, and I can imagine you can measure it over time and make tweaks as the business changes, market conditions change.
Segmentation, the whole thing.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for your demo, for your insights, and for answering those questions. You'll be back with us to answer a little bit more Q&A in just a bit. But we're going to continue to hear about how AI innovations are driving actual sales change with Jonah May. He's the Director of Product Management and here to show how Agentforce topics and actions come together to drive action autonomously. Jonah, take it away.
Okay. Well, very excited to walk you all through the amazing innovation from Sales AI in this upcoming release. As Carol mentioned, I'm Jonah May, Director of Product within the Sales AI team here at Sales Cloud. Now, what better place to start than Agentforce? So in this release, we've taken all of your Agentforce Sales Assistant actions, we've organized them into topics using the same amazing technology foundation that Connor mentioned for the Sales Cloud agents. And this is going to make your Sales Assistant actions more accurate and responsive than ever before. So this is a huge up-level for the quality of work that Agentforce is able to help sellers perform in this upcoming release. But that's not all. It's not just about the quality of work, it's about what work can we help with. So not only are we shipping those new topics out of the box, but new actions are coming inside of those topics. They're going to cover helping sellers close deals, manage deals, communicate with customers, explore conversations, and forecast sales revenue. So your Agentforce Sales Assistant is going to be able to help with the selling process from start to finish in a way that wasn't possible before, and we'll demo more of that in just a moment. Switching gears to Einstein Conversation Insights, we're excited to deliver in this release your all-new Conversation Hub. Conversation Hub is your home base for all of your conversation data, bringing it all in one place, not having these experiences sprinkled across all of the places that your sellers work. We're bringing all of those conversations together under one hood. On top of that, we have an all-new way of filtering and searching through conversations. Conversations can create a mountain of data to parse through, very valuable data, but it can be a lot of work. So we're building all of these new tools through this search and filtering experience that are going to enhance the way that sellers and sales leaders can find the data that they need faster than ever. We're also excited to deliver sales signals. I'm personally very, very excited to get sales signals into all of your hands. Sales signals is your way to have radar through the fog as a sales leader. What Sales Signals does is it looks across all of your conversations, proactively identifies trends that are emerging in your most recent conversations to tell you not just who is being talked about, what competitors are being talked about, what features are being talked about, but what are we actually saying in the market about those competitors? What are people feeling in the market? So we'll do a demo of that, which is very, very exciting. And then in relationship selling, in previous releases, we were really excited to share with you all the relationship map, your crystal ball into the way your customers operate. You know, who reports to who are the decision makers. All of that we were excited in previous releases to share, and we're in this release bringing relationship map all over CRM. So you'll see it in account plans, you'll see it accessible via Agentforce as well, and we'll see demos of that just in a moment too. So let's dive into demos. Okay. So let's start with Agentforce. So what you're looking at here is your Agentforce Sales Assistant. Now it's great that we've organized all of the data into topics to get the output to be more accurate and responsive than ever before, but really it comes down to what actions can I perform? Well, with our all new Plan My Day action, sellers now have the ability to, with just one simple ask of their Einstein Sales Assistant, create a plan for me. What should I be focusing on today? And Einstein will go look across all of your sales data, your opportunities, your calendar, your leads and events, and put that all in one prioritized list for you to attack. So every seller has the superpower to start their day with a plan that Einstein, that their Agentforce Sales Assistant helped them with to get them off and running. Now let's say that plan involved scheduling an upcoming meeting, a really, really common thing that all sellers and sales teams have to do. Well, with new Agentforce actions available in this release, we can now ask Agentforce, what's the best way to connect with this contact? Looking at the relationship map, looking at historical data on how we've interacted with this contact in the past. Now sellers have the confidence to know not just what should I be saying, but where should I be saying it? What's the best channel for this contact to be reached? And then you can ask Agentforce, hey, I know how I want to reach out. Help me with the what. Draft that meeting email, draft that outreach for me. And with just a couple clicks, we have this email here out, ready to go, and I'm off and running, executing against the plan that Agentforce helped me generate. Now, after the meeting, now I have all this data that I need to record, things that I want to make sure get into CRM, and we have new Agentforce actions for that as well. Now with Agentforce, it's quick to log a call. With Agentforce, I can ask Agentforce to perform that for me. The data will end up with just a couple clicks into CRM without you having to dig across different record pages, bringing all of that capability under the Agentforce hood. And you can also ask Agentforce now to to add a contact to a cadence, making all of those follow-up activities after calls easier than ever before with your sales assistant. Okay, that's a lot with Agentforce, but now switching gears to Einstein Conversation Insights. What we're looking at here is your Conversation Hub. Like we said before, it's your home base for all of your conversation data. You have sales signals here, which we'll dive into in just a moment in more detail. All of your most important conversations prioritized for you right here on this right-hand panel. And so let's say you as a seller have a meeting upcoming that you want to prepare for. You can look right here on the side and see all of the conversations that matter for that deal and dig into some of the details. So I can see it right here, open up the details. I have access to the Einstein summary that's been prepared for me so I can quickly orient myself for this upcoming meeting. I have access to the insights that have been pulled out, and if I click through these, I can look at all of the pricing mentions all right here, and if I need to, I can dig into the full transcript. Again, I can do all of that on multiple conversations, all without leaving Conversation Hub. I even have access to Call Explorer right here, so I can ask, was pricing discussed on the call? And Einstein will go out, review the entire transcript, and give me the answer. So preparing for calls is easier than ever before with Conversation Hub. Now let's say there's a conversation I'm looking for that's not recent, something specific that I want to go find. With our all-new search and filtering experience, it's easier than ever for sellers to find the conversations they're looking for based on search criteria like the date, the related record, fields on that related record. I can find exactly what I'm looking for with a fine-tooth comb in this release. Now let's look here at sales signals. So sales signals, like we said before, it proactively analyzes all of my conversations to pull out trends. I don't have to ask I don't have to know what questions to ask. It's almost like Einstein finds the right questions to ask for me and presents the answers. So if we drill in, we can see, let's say I have a competitor called Wonka's Widgets. Sales Signals has proactively identified that Wonka's Widgets is running an end-of-year promotion. This is something that I wouldn't have known had it not been proactively identified by the Sales Signals AI. And as I drill in, I can see what are the key themes? What are people saying about this end-of-year promo? So I can not just know it's happening, but what should I do about it? Do I need to match it? Are people buying because of this promotion? What should I be doing? All of that can be deciphered from these key themes. Again, these are AI generated. I can see what opportunities are affected. So if I need to adjust my tactics for any given opportunity, I have the information to do so right here. And if I want to really drill into the details, I can look at each exact conversation and see exactly what was said that contributed to that topic. And so now I have the opportunity to really dig in deep to the signals that matter most to me. So that's the demo. Carolyn, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll throw it back to you.
Absolutely amazing. I read somewhere, and we may even have put the statistic out, that sales reps spend around 30% of their week actually on sales activities. So when you think about the impacts to productivity the features and functions that we're releasing have, it's the power is endless. So it makes me super excited. And when we talk about these questions that are coming in, one of the things is around that sales assistant. You mentioned it helps the AE start their day with a plan. Like that to me is, exactly what you need to do. But can these actions be customized if we want to tweak the outputs?
Yeah, so the Agentforce platform is designed to work for your organization. So the topics, the actions, you can create your own custom actions if you want to deliver something that goes beyond what we do out of the box. With all of the Agentforce capabilities, you can control prompts and flows that contribute to those actions. So it's really endless what's possible. And then you can organize those into topics to get the experience that you want for your seller. So everything about it is customized.
Amazing. Which, we stay true to those low code, no code, pro code roots and giving people options to customize for their business. Now, you started talking about sales signals. You got really excited. I also got really excited. Do sellers have tools to see insights about conversations already? What's so different about sales signals?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think we've always had the ability to know this competitor was mentioned this number of times, and that's useful. But really what matters is not just this competitor was mentioned, but what was said in the 10 minutes after that. The problem is I don't have time to review 10 minutes of content for every time a competitor is mentioned. So that's really what Sales Signals unlocks for sales leaders, for sellers, is the ability to analyze those 10 minutes that I care about at scale and derive the insights that matter from them.
Yeah, I think that what I love most about this is it's not just about that individual and then the team. Think about the ways you can aggregate that across the business. So if you mentioned a specific example, there's pricing and packaging that's being discussed, or a discount towards the end of any quarter or year. Imagine being able to activate your marketing teams,
Absolutely.
your campaigns teams, and then even things like your competitive intelligence team. So aggregating those conversations, it activates the whole business around trends that
Totally.
you would had to look at every single call
I
to
mean,
do.
we have a table of product managers here. I think all of us would benefit greatly from Sales Signals, where we can see exactly, the trends that are emerging and feel like we're confident in.
Yep.
in
And it
what
all
we're
starts
seeing.
with actually turning on ECI. You have to have the conversations recorded. And as a former salesperson, it's uncomfortable. But when you can see the output across all of my teammates, I'm now contributing to some of the action that can be taken if I'm actually participating. So, okay, final question here. I'm just navigating my new iPad. Let's see. We have sales signals. How will I know the signals I see are still relevant? So what's that time constraint, and how do we manage that?
Yeah, so the beauty of it is it's a continuously running process. So you will always have the freshest signals that are emerging at the top of the list. So you'll still have access to the information that was from last month, but this is always running proactively. And so you will always have the latest information, the latest signals from your fresh conversations.
Amazing. I can just imagine the business impacts across the business and all of the teams that rally around the sales team. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And next up, we have Aubrey Gavin, Director of Product Management, who's here to show you the latest innovations in account plans, pipeline forecasting, and Partner Connect. Aubrey, are you ready?
Yeah.
Over to you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Hi, everyone. My name is Aubrey, and I'm excited to share what is new with core Salesforce platform and automation. So let's get into it. So we know from talking to a lot of our customers that account plans is something that is really difficult right now in terms of there's not a lot of consistency around how our customers are building account plans. You could be building them in slides or in spreadsheets or somehow hacking together some sort of homegrown solution, but there hasn't been one centralized place to have account plans inside CRM. So in Winter 25, we are super excited to announce account plans natively within Salesforce, where your entire sales, marketing, and support team can collaborate on your account objectives. So account plans really help at all different stages of the account planning process. It helps you streamline your account outreach and research by having customizable and standardized frameworks to choose from. It also helps define your measurable goals by allowing you to select different objectives, whether it's to grow revenue or to improve a certain relationship. And finally, we know account planning does not happen in a silo. It's not just your account manager, but you need people from all different functions, leaders, service, support, to be able to collaborate. And since it's built on the Salesforce platform, things like visibility and perms allow you to get the right information to the right people at the right time in order to reach your account goals. Next up, forecasting. So we know that the key to forecasting experience that is successful is that it's both insightful and configurable to the way that you do business, both functionally and operationally. So new in Winter 25, we have forecast submissions. And forecast submissions are basically a point-in-time look at a sales rep's forecast for the upcoming forecast period. And what it allows you to do is look at your forecast submissions over time to identify trends and really allow you to change strategies and drive that forecast rigor for your organization. Then also, if you've checked out forecasting in the past and it didn't exactly map to the way that your revenue model worked, I encourage you to take another look, because with Winter 25, you can even use forecasting if you're splitting if you're working your sales team by territories, or using opportunity splits, or even opportunity product splits. And finally, for us admins, manager judgment values are now available in reports and dashboards. Next up, partner relationship management, otherwise known as PRM. So the new innovation here is Partner Connect. And with Partner Connect, the idea or the process where your partners were copying all their opportunity or lead data from your CRM to their CRM is a thing of the past. So with the new flexibility of Partner Connect, it gives your partners the flexibility to work their leads and your opportunities from their own CRM. And that really breeds a lot of trust, which I cannot emphasize the importance of enough when you're extending your sales team outside the four walls of your organization. And finally, Sales Cloud Go, which is my personal favorite because I work on it. So how many of you all tuning in struggle with keeping up with the latest updates and innovations from Sales Cloud? The answer is probably all of you, since you're all here and you're all tuning in, trying to find out what's next. So Sales Cloud Go is kind of us hearing you and trying to deliver something for admins and customers that helps you keep up with what we're doing. So it allows you to see all the features that you've talked about, that we've talked about here today, gather resources, share them with your team, and even activate them in a single click. So let's go through some of that stuff in the demo. So first up, we have account plans. And I'm looking at an account plan for my strategic account, Assurity Corporation. And any good account manager needs to look at the high-level bird's eye view of their account. What is currently going on and what has gone on? So I can see in the report at the top, what's the revenue that I've closed maybe last quarter, this quarter, what's the win rate, and what open opportunities do I need to be paying attention to for the account? And then in terms of creating the account plan, there's a ton of research that needs to go into it. And right now you may have like a slide and different AEs are doing account plan research in different ways. But with this structured and standardized format, we've now allowed you to have a way to categorize the key information that you need to build your strategic account plan. So scrolling down, I can see different pieces of information around the customer landscape. What are my customers' strategic priorities for this year? What are the KPIs that they're measuring? What are some of the challenges or industry trends? And you can even capture information about your account's competitors. And all of these signals and pieces of data can be used to actually create your strategic account plan using SWOT analysis, which is just a fancy name for categorizing strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And I could do this in a silo, but as I said, I want to use the power of Salesforce and the platform to share my account plan with key stakeholders. So I want to share this with one of my service reps because Assurity is no stranger to filing cases and letting us know when they are upset with different things. So using different record level access and perms, I can share this account plan with whoever I need to collaborate with. And as Jonah mentioned earlier, we are bringing the buyer relationship map to more places because another key part of the account planning process is knowing who is involved in the account, who are all the different players, who are maybe the detractors, the decision makers. And so popping over to the relationship map, I can take a look right from the account plan and see who is going to be the person on my upcoming call. Where are all the detractors, decision makers, champions, and sponsors? And I notice here that Jim Collins, the head of legal, is a potential detractor. So with my upcoming strategic account plan for this year, I want to really figure out how I can turn Jim from a detractor into a sponsor. And so going back into the account plan, I can solve that issue with objectives. So objectives is the way that you're actually going to categorize what are the things that I want to see changed in this strategic account plan. And you can create objectives based on revenue goals, relationship goals, success goals, and I can see I have a few others already, but I want to really create that relationship goal. So I want to say, I want to improve my relationship with legal, maybe by, the end of this year. I'll just select something for now. I'm going to assign myself as the owner, as the account manager. And this is not a measurable goal. It's more qualitative. But if I had something more quantitative to tie to it as well, I could do that. And there you have it. You just saw how we were able to build an account plan in a standardized way with measurable objectives and understand all the players at play. And then switching over to Sales Cloud Go. So again, my favorite, this is a new setup and admin experience for Sales Cloud. And it's your one-stop shop to discover everything that your Salesforce edition has to offer you to drive sales success. So let's say I was really curious about Einstein Conversation Insights and sales signals. I can go and search Einstein Conversation Insights from Sales Cloud Go. And that's going to bring me to these feature sets, which helped me understand what these features are actually used and helpful for. So in the automate and guide selling, that is what I'm interested. I want to figure out how I can save time for my reps. And I can see all of the features that I have available to me to help my reps automate and guide their selling. So I can take a look at Einstein Conversation Insights. It's the one I was interested in learning about. And what's really cool is I can take this clickable, interactive, guided tour, which is basically like a demo, but you can do it at your own pace and you don't have to listen to one of us talk the whole time. And once I get a really clear overview of what this is, what it's going to look like for my end users, I can then be ready to click this and turn this on. So with composability, I can see exactly which ones I want to turn on, and then I can click that turn on button where we'll be sure to show you any legal disclaimers or any considerations or default settings that you may need to know or worry about before turning that feature on. And finally, I can also see any other features that I may not have available. I know it's a super common question in Release Readiness Live. Do I actually have access to this feature? Well, now you can go to Sales Cloud Go to find out. And that's all for me. I'm going to pass it back to you, Carolyn.
I love that. That is wonderful. And I'm so glad that you're giving insight to everyone on what they can deploy in their orgs and how they can become more efficient and productive. So, account plans. Selling is a team sport.
Yes.
We've always said that. But buying is now a team sport. And so making sure you understand what those relationships are and then where do you need to progress is really impactful. And David is telling us that they've been using account plans in Quip and moving them to native Salesforce is huge. So thank you, David.
Awesome.
Thank you for being our support center in this section. Okay, so let's get to it. We have in account plans. Can you display different parts of account plans to different users? I know you can share it with different people, but if there's sensitive data and things like that, how do you make sure you're sharing what people need to see?
Of course. So yes, definitely. And the great part about account plans, all the components that you saw earlier, customizable and Lightning App Builder, which we know our admins know and love. So things like visibility rules. And then also we do have different permissions that you can assign to say, oh, I don't want them to see these objectives, or I only want them to be able to see kind of like the high level if it's like a leader. So definitely customizable and configurable to whatever your data sensitivity is.
Yeah, and the things that you showed, I'm imagining this progression of building an account plan, getting the team together to rally against that, assigning out different activities and responsibilities to drive that forward. But then as a sales leader, that could drive one-on-one conversations.
Absolutely.
And then pipeline forecasting. Now you're getting more accurate pipeline forecasting because it all kind of works together, it seems.
Exactly.
Okay. And so with partner connection, we know partners are super important to a lot of our customers' businesses. Can you use that with custom objects, and then are the updates bi-directional?
Yes, absolutely. So we know that a lot of folks may not use leads and opportunities as the standard out-of-the-box object. So you can export any custom object from your CRM to their CRM. And then what's really cool is you can do the field mapping that you want. So you can say from this CRM to that CRM, these are the fields that I want to map. And then any update that happens either in your CRM or their CRM is super bi-directional. So having that shared view of the shared pipeline between you and your partners is just super important in terms of like fostering that trust and creating that transparency.
Yeah, and driving more business together. I think that's super important. When you have that transparency, you can have actual conversations about where the improvements are needed, what's going well, and maximize that. Okay, final question here. For Sales Cloud Go, this is a great one-page feature that allows our customers to understand what's available to them. we know, we've seen you all, the work you do and the rapid pace of innovation, it is sometimes hard to keep up with. So this is a great way. But can anyone go in and turn on features? How does that work? How do we make sure that we're giving them what they have access to?
Yeah, of course. So it is right now in setup. So if you have, modify all data or customize app or view setup, that is the only way that you'll be able to get in. And then we have special controls to make sure only you as an admin can actually turn things on. But what we do have, which I didn't quite show, is you can share all those assets and all of those resources with your end users or your different stakeholders. Say like, you're going into these meetings and you're trying to understand, or your leaders are trying to understand, they came back from Dreamforce and they said, okay, do we have ECI? Like, what does ECI do? You can actually share those resources with those stakeholders to drive alignment and actually start conversations.
Great, so it gives access to, here's what you could potentially deploy, here's how you might do it, or even start the conversation internally so that you can maximize what you are getting out of it. So thank you. That was wonderful. And you'll be back in a little bit for Q&A again. Okay. So last up, we have Nomi Nara, Senior Product Manager, who's going to show us how some exciting updates to sales planning, sales programs, maps, and SPIF are driving a ton of productivity. So Nomi, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Carolyn. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to showcase all of the innovation that's coming up in Winter 25 in the SPM portfolio. So let's jump in. The SPM flywheel starts with sales planning, right? Unified, collaborative, data-driven sales plans are easy and fast when you have all the data you need in one single platform. And then you can help fine-tune your seller activity with personalized programs and coaching, or outcome-based programs and coaching. And you can personalize their guidance for all your reps at scale, really helping them achieve their targets. And then you have Salesforce Maps, where you can help your reps' day-to-day efficiency. You can really prioritize engagement so they're always talking to the right accounts, and you can optimize their time in field, ensuring effective and efficient visits. And then finally, SPIF. You can help your team focus on the goals that matter. You can automate and adjust your compensation plans, and also surface these commissions right in the flow of work so your sellers know exactly how they earn. And all of this while capturing very critical data that flows back into sales planning, helping you achieve even more efficient growth. So without further ado, let's jump into the demo and see in action all of the wonderful Winter 25 features coming up. Awesome. So I'm going to step into the shoes of sales ops in a medtech company. We've observed that in the last 2 quarters, a few of our key competitors have been eating into our pie. And so as we plan our next fiscal year, we want to make some fundamental shifts in how we go to market, with hyper-focused selling motions for specific industries and also introducing additional overlay roles. So let's start with sales planning for this motion, with a focus on what's coming up in Winter 25. Sales planning is introducing a lot of cool features in territory planning in Winter 25. So our sales ops team has already completed designing the segments, and they're ready to move into territory planning. They've identified some key verticals here, so I'm going to dig into one of these. I'm going to pick manufacturing. So the goal is to take the customer base, so that is 472 records you're seeing here, and then assign that across different territories within manufacturing. So let's dig into this segment. I'm going to click on manufacturing, which will bring me here. And then I'm going to click on the existing territory plan that the team has already started. And that will bring me here, and I'm going to click on Open Alignment. Now, it's going to take a minute. The beauty of live demos. Okay, so as you can see, this is the territory model that I've already imported from sales territories. Now, I'm really happy with this model, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Apply. And in a second, we will see some magic happen. Great. So We would have seen an in-app guidance pop up here that really helps you walk through the most important actions that you'd have to take. And then another cool feature here is this tabular view. This really helps customers who aren't geo-focused to see all of the attributes and also track the impact, the changes in the alignment. Now, I'm going to make some changes here. I'm going to unassign these for a second. So these are the 472 units that we saw at the beginning of this demo that have been unassigned. And so now what I want to show you is basically how are we able to assign this across all of the territories. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Optimize, and I'm going to balance on units. I'm going to prioritize balance, and I'm going to hit Next. And in a second, we will be able to see how it's actually dividing all of the units across all of the territories. Great. So before I go ahead and hit Apply, I can actually see a preview of what this segmentation looks like. And so you can see that it has divided all of the units equally across all of the territories. And so this looks good to me. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go ahead and hit Apply. And just like that, all of my unassigned units or all of my customers are now assigned to all of the territories. And this can now be published back to your sales territories. So that's what's new in sales planning. Now let's switch sides and go to sales programs. So sales programs can really help, give that guidance to your reps and also help them with the path forward on how to counter your competition. So new in Winter 25, sales programs are now packageable. And we're leveraging this, and we are creating programs or ready-to-use programs for various use cases. And we're not just stopping there. We've even partnered with industry experts to create some expert programs and have all of that available for you on AppExchange. Now, so with just a few clicks, you can just easily install a program for a use case that you're working on, and also surface expert sales best practices and methodologies from Korn Ferry directly in the flow of work for your sellers. With the right licenses, all of these programs on AppExchange are free for you to use. And so this program you're seeing here is one of those programs that I've installed from AppExchange. So obviously I want to train my reps on how to beat the competition. And the outcome of this program is to close one competitive deal in 30 days. And the program also lists a bunch of resources that I need in order to achieve that outcome. Super helpful. I've already customized this program with content that is specific for my company, and so that customization is possible for you too. You can delete exercises, add exercises, make this really fit for your use case. Now, a couple of things I want to point out. One is let's take an example. Let's look at this milestone where I'm tracking the number of calls my reps have made. Now, all my reps don't necessarily set the subtype of task to call when they're logging a call. Sometimes they just mention the keyword call in the subject. And so with the introduction of the contains does not contain filter operator in the measure builder, I'm now able to create measures more accurately and that track those specific keywords. Small, but a very mighty feature. So let's go back to the program again. Now, another cool thing I want to point out is, let's say you have your content strategy in a third-party system like Google Drive. I already have a slide deck there that I think is really useful, and I want to pull that into the program here. Now, in the past, you would either have to create that slide deck in Salesforce if you wanted that to show up in flow of work for your sellers, or at least link that slide deck, and that would have taken the sellers to a new tab to view that content. But with custom exercises in Winter 25, you can easily create an integration with any of the third-party systems of your choice, like Google Drive in this case, or HighSpot, or Vimeo. And you can not only pull that data directly into programs, but your sellers are also able to consume that data directly in the flow of their work. So I'm going to just show you a quick example. I'm going to pull in Google Slides here. The cool thing about this is you can actually search for your Google Slides right from the program builder, and you select the file. You can even preview that file within the program builder. And again, like I said, your sellers will be able to view that content directly in the flow of their work within the Guidance Center. Now, another thing I do want to call out is the feedback exercise type, and new in Winter 25. You can now get instant feedback from Einstein. So in the past, you would have to select a peer, a manager, or to give that feedback and actually fill out an assessment survey to give feedback on a pitch that you've submitted. But really saving that time from your peers and improving productivity, we wanted to use Einstein to give that instant feedback for you. So that's what's in sales programs. And let's move on to Salesforce Maps. So starting Winter 25, we're super excited to announce that the Sales Maps enhanced user experience will be available for all of our customers. And on top of that, you can really consume a lot of the opportunities, or you can really preview those opportunities by exploring thousands of subscription-free data sets from ESRI's Living Atlas catalog. And you can overlay that data set on maps along with your CRM data, like the overlay you're seeing here, to really see the regional health trends. Now, as a rep in the medtech industry, this data set is super helpful, right? Because now you can see the severity of health issues in a region. So you can make recommendations on the products or the volume of products that the medical facilities would need in those regions. Now that you have your data set, that you have your data here, it's time to make customer calls with the physicians at these medical facilities. So this used to be an arduous task because your medical facility information is in the CRM and your physician information would have been in a third-party system. But with Maps and Data Cloud, you can now get a unified view of this data. So I'm going to click on this medical center here, and if you see the related list, all of the physician information, including their phone numbers, names, etc., would have been shown in this related list. There we go. So all of this data is right in front of me, so I can spend less time planning my customer engagements and actually more time having those face-to-face conversations with my customers. Awesome. And then last but not least, let's go to Spiff. New in Winter 25, Spiff is now integrated with Data Cloud. This instance of Spiff is already enabled with Data Cloud, so you could just see the status of that sync here. And so with this integration, you can use the Spiff data with the Data Cloud features, and also allows for visualizations in Tableau and CRMA. Now, I want to show you how the setup step flow would look like if your instance is not set up with Data Cloud. So I'm going to go to Admin and Settings, which would bring me here. Again, this instance is already set up, but if it's not, you would not have been able to move to the next step without completing the first one. So you'd have to authenticate into Data Cloud before you can install the package, and then this toggle will show you or will indicate when that sync is successfully set up or enabled. Great. So let's take a look at how I can add data to the sync. So if I go to Reports and Configuration, that would bring me here. All of the fields that you're seeing here are all the Spiff fields that have already been synced to Data Cloud. So I want to add new fields. I'm going to go to Add New Data, and this is all of the available fields in Spiff, right? So I'm going to select one random field. Let's select Contract Length Years, Save Changes. And if I come search, there we go. The field is now being synced to Data Cloud. It's just as simple as that. And the other cool thing is I can actually edit the name and also the format of this field to ensure that everybody, all users are able to easily understand what this field is for, and maybe also give an opportunity to fix any of the type issues or the format issues on the field. And with that, I'm at the end of my demo.
Great,
Back
thank
to you, Carolyn.
Thank you, that was wonderful. Just so everyone knows, we have a ton of questions that are coming in, so we're gonna do some rapid fire Q&A across the board, and we're gonna start at this end of the table and make our way. So if we don't get to your question, just make sure you know that we will get you the answer. So let's start. Okay, Nomi, Does Einstein Coach in sales programs support role play?
Great question. So we've started with just a stand and deliver experience of what you would have seen that in Sales Coach. So you would submit a pitch and Einstein would just give you feedback on that pitch. Although introducing role play into that, or this whole Sales Coach experience into programs, is on our roadmap.
Great.
And something to look forward to.
Awesome. Very good. People will be excited about that. Absolutely. Okay, Aubrey, you in the hot seat. I got a lot of questions for you. So let's first start with the reporting capabilities. Are there any available for account plans?
Yeah, I think standard reporting capabilities and all of the fields on the account plan that you saw, so the objectives, the strengths, weaknesses, all of those fields should be available in standard reporting.
Great. I'm going to stay with you because Andrew is asking, how does Sales Cloud Go kind of help address some of the challenges admins are facing with configuring features?
An amazing question. So right now, really what we've tackled so far is just helping with really quick activation and making that experience quick and seamless, allowing you to sign legal terms or understand disclaimers. What is on our roadmap is really digging into that configuration. So I'll be excited to be standing here in maybe 3 to 4 months talking about what we've done to help with configuring features.
And getting some feedback clearly from everyone about how that goes.
We would love to hear.
Yes, awesome. All right, now back to this side of the table. 2 questions. It's kind of a 2-part question. Raju wants to know, are conversation insights based on calls or chats or both?
Yeah, so today Conversation Insights, Einstein Conversation Insights, pulls in your call data. So it's going to be based off of live conversation. That can be video or voice. You'll see more integration with other channels coming soon in Conversation Hub and its signals as well.
Great. And then a couple follow-up questions. How is the call data coming into CRM?
Yeah, so through Einstein Conversation Insights, you can set up connectors. So there's no manual data entry required from any of the sellers. The calls are automatically pulled in. We transcribe them. We derive the insights. So no manual work at all for the sellers to bring that data in.
Great. Great. All right. Now we're moving down to the table. Connor. One of the questions, and maybe we can all jump in here because this is a popular one across all of our customers. What's the difference between Einstein, Copilot, Agentforce, Prompt Builder? Can we have a little bit of a discussion on what those things are? What did we rename? What's net new? That kind of.
Jonah, you want to take this one?
Yeah.
Sure. Happy to. Yeah, I can. I think the way to think about it, or at least I think about it, Agentforce is the platform that's orchestrating everything, and Agentforce has access to a number of tools that it can leverage. Prompts are one of them, actions, topics. So those are all things that Agentforce has access to when it's doing work on your behalf. The next piece is, when does Agentforce do work? What's the interface that I'm interacting with? So in one of the demos that I was showing, you see the kind of on-demand way to interact with Agentforce. That's where I have an action I want to perform. I ask Agentforce for help. So this is on-demand. And then Connor's showing with these agents that come out of the box more autonomous ways to leverage Agentforce, where Agentforce is doing work based off of an inbound email, let's say. So the platform is Agentforce. Prompts, actions, topics, those are the tools that Agentforce can leverage. And then when it does work is the fun part. And there's many interfaces that it can leverage.
Great. So let's talk about the out-of-box SDR, because one of the questions is, what versions is that available on? And another popular question, do you need Data Cloud to power these things?
Yes. So specifically with Data Cloud, you do need Data Cloud. And the key there is that all of the context that your agent needs to be able to answer questions efficiently and accurately comes from Data Cloud and our vector database, which these agents will then leverage RAG to retrieve the information that it needs based on questions.
Great. Thank you for that. David asked, are all the updates for Winter 24 Agentforce based? But I think we covered that as we got further into. So David, thank you for the question. More reactions. Mitch is very excited about the new Maps experience. So Nomi, maybe we'll come back to you and talk a little bit about, so can you still use Map as well as tables when planning territories?
Yes. Great question again. Absolutely. The longitude and latitude data can be added after the fact, and also territory planning can be used with the map user interface for geo-based customers.
Great.
Yeah.
I feel like my constant device usage is training me for this in-slot of questions, so I love it. Keep them coming. Danny is asking, when is Sales Cloud Go available?
Should be rolling out with the release, so
Great.
If you don't see it yet in your sandbox, it is coming, and then to production shortly thereafter.
Right.
So
Well,
with Winter 25.
That's awesome. So let's stay with account plans. Tim says their company is currently using Quip for account planning. Is there a way to migrate from Quip to account plans?
It's a really good question. I don't quite think so, but we can check and get back to you on that.
So
David.
a conversation around process, technology, trying to figure out what's the best way, especially depending on, Tim, how much information your AEs are contributing to their account plans. I'm sure there's lots of processes that go behind that in change management. So thank you for that question. Okay, then let's go to Jonah, Conversations Hub. What can we hide or only make visible to specific users? So security is an important question here. Not being searchable for all users, but only specific. What security is it using?
Great question. So at the base level, access control is built into Einstein Conversation Insights, so you can determine who has access to what calls, what permissions do people have, and then all of the features, search, hub, signals, will all adhere to the data access control rules that you set up.
Great. So it's all built on the platform. It's great. Okay, one last question, because I think this one's pretty fun when you're talking about account teams, because you never know who you're going to run into. So Aubrey, Stacy wants to know if the relationship map can have photos.
Oh, I love that. I don't think so, but they are based on contacts, so I think that's a great feature request.
Yeah. Idea exchange?
Yeah.
Get it logged in. Well, I just have to say, this was a wonderful induction for me as a first show. So thank you all so much for all of your hard work on behalf of our customers, as well as taking the time to show and showcase what you're working on. I really appreciate it, and so does our audience. So if you have more questions about what you've seen today, post them in the Trailblazer community, #SalesforceRRL, and we'll make sure to get you an expert answer. Thank you so much for watching. Your feedback matters and helps make our products and this broadcast better. So tell us what you thought of this episode. Scan the QR link on the screen to take a short survey. As a thank you, you'll be entered into a sweepstakes to win one of 5 Salesforce certification vouchers. And we've got lots more to come on Winter 25. We're going to take a quick break and be back at 11 a.m. Pacific for Salesforce Flow. And tomorrow, we're back at you with Developer Preview, Service Cloud, and a special bonus episode featuring Health Cloud. And we'll round it out on day 3 with CRM, Analytics, and Admin Preview. And you can catch it all on demand on Salesforce Plus. Coming up later this month, discover Agentforce, what AI was meant to be. Make sure to scan the QR code on your screen to register. The live launch event kicks us off on Salesforce Plus on October 29th at 9 a.m. Pacific. Hear from companies that are using autonomous agents to take action and drive results 24/7, and then get ready to build your own. You won't want to miss it. Well, I'm Carolyn Bathauer, and that's all for now. We will catch you next time in the cloud.